Namo Namaha Bhaktam Sarvesham Hardam Swagatam. Welcome back to this channel Sanskrit Sopanam. I hope you are doing great. I'm also good. And in our series of videos where we are learning suffixes, pratyaya, that how pratyaya suffixes they actually work in Sanskrit and how they actually modify a dhatu or a pratipadika. So in this series of videos we are learning about that. And through the last two videos we covered three suffixes. Those were trich, naval and quip. So we covered these three suffixes. All these three suffixes we saw how they operate, how they actually modify the dhatu and what kind of pratipadika they create. And we took few examples to elaborate this, to practice these concepts. Okay, so I hope all of you have seen those videos and also the video on Maheshwar Sutrani, because there also we spoke about few concepts that we are continuously using in these videos. So I hope all of you have seen the past three videos. And now in this particular video, we are again taking up three new suffixes, three new pratyay. What pratyay they are and what do they do? All of this we will see through the video. So without wasting any more time, let's quickly dive in today's video. Okay, so this is essentially the third part on the series on this krit suffixes. Okay, and as you've already seen in the previous videos, what is a krit suffix? So krit suffix is a kind of suffix which changes a dhatu, a verbal root, into a new pratipadika, into a new nominal base. So basically the krit suffixes create a new word out of the dhatu, out of the verbal roots in Sanskrit. Okay, so in our current lineup of videos, we are first covering this category, krit suffixes. And in this category, today we are covering these three suffixes, yat, nyat and kyap. And what do these suffixes do? So they create a new word from a verbal root, from a dhatu. And that new pratipadika and that new word gives the meaning that which should be done. Okay, so whatever new pratipadika we create, the meaning that it gives is that which should be done. Okay, we will see. With examples, it becomes more clear. And see, the reason I'm taking these three suffixes together is, first of all, the kind of pratipadika they create is similar. That which should be done. In this sense, they create a new pratipadika. And second thing, for all these three suffixes, yat, nyat and kyap, the main letter, the main content of a suffix is ya. So for all these three suffixes, the main content is this ya. Rest all the letters are it letters, as we shall see in the video. So since they have a lot of similarity in their meaning and structure, so we are taking them together in this single video. But anyways, now let us begin with this suffix, yat suffix. And by the way, before moving on with the video, I strongly recommend that if you have not seen the last two videos, kindly go and watch them first, because there are a lot of concepts that we are going to use in these videos. About that concepts we have spoken in the previous videos. So kindly go and check the part 1 and part 2 out first and then come back to this video. Okay, so we are starting with yat suffix and you all are already familiar with this format. So we have these four columns, that every suffix, what does it denote? What are the it letters? What are the main letters? And what are the required modifications for this suffix? So what does it denote? We already spoke about this. That denotes that which should be done. Okay, this is what is denoted by the pratipadikas created using these suffixes, yat suffix for example. And then we have it letter. So in this yat suffix, the it letter is ta. So this is the indicatory letter and we generally remove them, we don't use them. And so what remains, this ya, this is the main letter. This is the main content that actually gets added to the dhatu. Okay, so for this yat suffix and the next two suffixes also, the main letter is this ya. Okay, and then most importantly, what are the required modifications? Okay, so since we don't have any special it letter, so we know that usually the guna of last ik and the guna of penultimate short ik, it happens. Okay, this is the kind of modification we saw in the previous examples also, that in default case when nothing else is happening, so the guna of last ik and the guna of penultimate short ik happens. And I am sure you all understand this pratyahara ik. Ik represents all the simple vowels a, I, u, ri, li. So all these five simple vowels are represented with this pratyahara ik. Okay, so if the dhatu has a last ik, then the guna happens. And if the dhatu has the short ik as the penultimate letter, as the second last letter, then also the guna happens. Okay, this is the required modification of this dhatu. And then there is one more thing additional, that for this particular suffix, for this yat suffix, the last a, the last dirgha a of the dhatu, it changes into dirgha e. Okay, and what this means is, if suppose this is the dhatu, nya dhatu means to know, to realize. So this dhatu has last a, that the last letter is the dirgha a. So as per the required modifications for this yat suffix, this a will change into dirgha e. So this nya, this will change into this ni. Okay, so this is the required modification for this dhatu. Okay, I hope so far so good. And now see, since all these three suffixes, yat, nyat and kyap, since all these three suffixes have the main content as ya, so since they are already very similar to each other, then how do we differentiate between them? And to create that differentiation, there is two more conditions, that this particular suffix is used with vowel ending dhatus except rikar ending. Basically meaning all the dhatus that are ending with any vowel. So we are going to use yat suffix. Okay, except if it is ending with a rikara. So this is the first condition, and then you have another condition that it is also used with dhatu ending with a pa varga letter and a as an penultimate letter. Okay, so a pretty elaborative sentence. Let us understand it, that this yat suffix is also used with a dhatus that are ending with a pa varga letter. So what is a pa varga? Pa varga is pa, pha, ba, bha, ma. So if a dhatu is ending with any pa varga letter, and if it has an a, if it has an risva a as a penultimate letter, then also we are going to use this yat suffix. So for example, I give you this dhatu, labh dhatu. Labh dhatu means to gain. So see, this dhatu is ending with bha. And bha, this letter belongs to the pa varga, right? Pa, pha, bha. And then we also see that as an penultimate letter, as in second last letter, you have this risva a, because labh. So you are basically saying la, then you have this a, and then you have this bha, right? So the penultimate letter, the second last letter is a risva a. So this condition is satisfied, so we are going to use yes suffix with such dhatus. Okay, so quite a handful of things, but just take a note of this thing, that this required modification is what this suffix is going to do to the dhatu, what changes it is going to do to the dhatu. And then these two are basically telling what kind of dhatu is going to use this suffix. So if the dhatu is ending with any vowel except the rikara, and if the dhatu is ending with any pa varga letter with a as a penultimate letter, then such kind of dhatus are going to take this particular suffix, yat suffix. Okay, so I hope this is clear, and it will again get clearer once we start with the example. So let us take this first example, jeya. And jeya, this pratipadika, this means that which should be conquered. Okay, so if we are using this dhatu jeya with suppose say yuddha, so yuddham jeyam, the war that should be conquered, the war that should be won. So in that sense, Jaya means that which should be conquered. And this Pratipadika is coming from the dhatu Ji dhatu. Ji dhatu means to win, to conquer in that sense. Okay. And since this dhatu is ending with a vowel, it is ending with this E, right? So it is ending with a vowel. So we know it is going to take this yat suffix. It can be modified using yat suffix. And now in the next step, we will do the required modifications. So we know that the guna of last ik will happen. And since our dhatu here G is ending with this E, and this E belongs to this ik pratyahara, it belongs to the simple vowels. So the guna of this E will happen. The guna of E is A. Okay. So this G will change into this J. Okay. And then the yat, for this pratyaya, we know the ya. This is the main content. This is what gets added to the dhatu. And then we know that no more modifications are possible because the dhatu does not have any penultimate letter and the dhatu is also not ending with a dirgha a. So both these modifications are not possible. And then here also we don't see any sandhi happening. So we are simply going to combine them together and what we get is this jaya. This is the pratipadika we get. Jaya, that means that which should be conquered. Okay, I hope this example is clear. And now let us take another example, Gneya. And this Gneya, this means that which should be known. Okay, because this Gneya, this is coming from the dhatu, Gnya dhatu. This Gnya dhatu means to know, to understand, to realize in that sense. And when we are modifying this dhatu using the yat suffix, so we immediately see that this last modification will happen. That the last dirgha a will change into a dirgha e. So this Gnya, this will change into Gni. And now see, since this dhatu is now ending with a dirgha e, and this dirgha e, this also belongs to this ik pratyahara. This also belongs to the simple vowels. So based on the required modifications, the guna of the last ik will happen. And we know that the guna of e, whether risva or dirgha, the guna of e is a. So this ni also will further change into gneya. Okay, and then the same thing will happen as we saw with j plus ya. So gne plus ya, this will combine together into gneya, that which should be known. Okay, so I hope this point is clear, that the last a of the dhatu, when it changes into this dirgha e, then this guna rule, this guna modification also applies to it. Because anyways, the dirgha E also is a simple vowel. So its guna will happen as per the required modifications. I hope this point was clear. Okay, so we'll move on and now we will see this pratipadika prameya. Prameya means that which should be cognized. And you will find the mention of this word in Nyaya Darshan. Because Nyaya Darshan, when it talks about the knowledge and the cognition of knowledge, then you have this word prameya. Prameya is that about which we are going to have the knowledge. So prameya is that which should be cognized. It is that subject matter of which we are going to have the knowledge. Okay. So from where we are getting this word, this pratipadika? So we are getting this from the dhatu ma dhatu. So ma dhatu actually means to measure, to weigh something. But along with this prefix pra, so along with this prefix, the meaning of this dhatu becomes to cognize something, to know something. And we are modifying this dhatu also with this yat suffix. See, the same thing is going to happen with this dhatu, what we saw previously with gnya dhatu. That first this ma, this last a will change into dirgha e. So this ma will become me. And then as per this modification, guna of the last ik. So as per this, the guna of this last e vowel, this last e will happen. The guna of e is a. So this me will further change into me. And then when no more modifications are possible, so we will just simply add all of them. So we have the prefix, we have the suffix, we have the modified dhatu joined together into the new word prameya. Prameya, that which should be known, that which should be cognized. Okay, so I agree that initially it may look a lot, but once you know this modification, these rules, see how easy it becomes to create new words out of the dhatu. Okay, and moving on, we see this another pratipadika, gamya. Gamya means that which should be reached. Basically, this gamya, this is coming from, as you can already guess, this is coming from gam dhatu. And gam dhatu means to go, but to go somewhere, to go someplace. And that is what we are getting from this word gamya. That which should be gone to. Basically, to properly rephrase it, that which should be reached. Okay, we can also think of this like that which should be attained to, that which should be reached in that sense. And that is exactly why we use this particular word gamya for worshipping our deities, worshipping our gods. When we say bhavagamya or we say dhyanagamya, when we are saying bhavagamya, we are basically saying so and so deity is attainable, is reachable with correct bhava. And then when we are saying Dhyanagamya, we have this famous shloka, no? Shantakaram Bhujagashainam. So in that this verse comes, Yogi Bhir Dhyanagamyam. That Lord Vishnu is someone who is Dhyanagamya, who is reachable, who is to be attained by dhyana, by meditation, by yogi bhi, by the yogis. So we quite often use this pratipadika gamya. Okay. So gamya coming from gam dhatu. Again we know we are going to modify this using yat pratyay. And by the way, also take notice that why we are using yat pratyay with this gam dhatu. Because this gam dhatu, this is ending with the letter that belongs to pa varga. Pa, pha, ba, bha, ma. So it is ending with a pa varga letter. And the penultimate letter is a riswa a. Here the penultimate letter, the second last letter is a riswa a. So since that condition is satisfied what we saw before, so we are using yat pratyay with this dhatu, gam dhatu. Okay, so anyways, we have gam dhatu modified using yat pratyay. See, none of these modifications are possible here because it does not have any last vowel. It also does not have any short ik as a penultimate vowel, and neither it is ending with a dirgha a. So neither of these modifications are possible, so it will remain like this. So gam will remain like this. For yat we know we add ya. So gam plus ya, this will change into gamya. That which should be reached, that which should be attained to in that sense. Okay, so far so good. And these much examples are enough for this particular pratyay, yat pratyay. Now let us move on to the next pratyay, nyat pratyay. And for this nyat pratyay, what does it denote? Again, we already know a pratipadika, that means that which should be done. What are the it letters? So the na and the ta, they are the it letters. Okay, see, basically what we saw before was this yat pratyay, and there the it letter was ta, the main letter was ya. So this nyat pratyay is just like what we saw before, but here you have an additional it letter, that is na. Okay, but this it letter, this is important. This is a special kind of it letter, because as we saw in the previous video also, where we covered the navul pratyay. So navul pratyay also had this na as the it letter. So there we saw that due to this na as an it letter, the vriddhi of the last ik happens and the vriddhi of the penultimate short a happens. Okay, so I hope you remember this rule that if na is there as an it letter, so this na causes the vriddhi of last ik and the vriddhi of penultimate short a. Okay, so the required modifications for this pratyaya are different. And then one more thing, that for the previous pratyaya we covered, the yat pratyaya, we saw all the dhatus that are ending with the vowel, we are using yat pratyaya, except the re-ending, except the ones ending with the rikara, riswara. Because the dhatus ending with this riswara, they are all covered with this nyat pratyaya. Okay, so this nyat pratyaya is used with re-ending dhatus, dhatus ending with the rikara. For example, this kri dhatu, it is ending with the riswara, rikara. Okay, and then apart from vowels, what we have are consonants. So all the dhatus that are ending with the consonant, we use this nyat suffix. Okay, so I hope the required modifications for this particular suffixes, it is clear. And I also hope that what kind of dhatus use this nyat suffix, this is also clear. That all the dhatus that are rikara ending and all the consonant ending dhatus, all of such dhatus use this nyat suffix. Okay, and with this in mind, let us see the first example. So we have the pratipadika karya. It is again a very common Hindi word, karya, that which should be done. Okay, and you can already guess it is coming from kri dhatu. Kri dhatu means to do. And since this particular dhatu is ending with a rikara, it is ending with a riswara. So instead of using yat pratyaya, we are using nyat pratyaya. Okay. And now let us see the modifications. That here the vriddhi of last ik happens. So for our kri dhatu, the last swara is this ri swara. And ri also is a simple vowel. This belongs to this ik pratyahara. So the vriddhi of this ri will happen. And what is the vriddhi of ri swara? So it is r. Okay, this is the vriddhi. So kri, this dhatu, this will change into kar. This is the first modification. And then see, this second modification, this will not apply because our dhatu here, it does not have any penultimate short a. So this modification will not apply. So only this modification will happen. Kri changes into kar. And for nyat, we know the main content is ya. So we are just simply going to combine them together. So kar plus ya changes into karya. This pratipadika. That which should be done. Okay. So I hope this is pretty easily clear. Let us take another example. And now we have this pratipadika sadhya. Sadhya means that which should be accomplished, that which should be attained. Why? Because it is coming from the dhatu sadh dhatu. Sadh dhatu means again same thing, to accomplish, to attain. So here is our dhatu which we are modifying using nyat pratyaya. Right? Because we already know that all the consonant ending dhatus, they use the nyat pratyaya. Okay. And see, don't be confused because in yat pratyaya also, we used few dhatus as gam dhatu with this pratyaya. But there was a special rule that if the dhatu is ending with a pa varga letter and if there is a risva swara, risva a as a penultimate letter, then that dhatu will use yat pratyaya. So there was a special case. But in a general sense, if a dhatu is ending with a consonant, we use nyat pratyaya. Okay, that is what we are doing here. Now let us see any modification if it is possible. So vriddhi of last ik, since there is no last vowel, so this modification is not possible. Then vriddhi of penultimate short a. Since with our dhatu here, the penultimate vowel is a dirgha a. It is not the short a. So this modification also is not possible. So basically sadh, this will remain like this. Sadh will stay like this only, sadh. And for nyat, we know, yeah, this is what gets added. So sadhya. This is what we get as a pratipadika, sadhya. That which should be accomplished, that which should be attained. Okay, so I hope all these points, everything is clear. Now let us move and take another example. So now see this word pujya. Again, a very common Hindi word, pujya. Pujya means that which is venerable, right? That which is reverential. Basically meaning that which should be worshipped. Okay, in that sense, pujya. Because this is coming from puj dhatu. Puj dhatu again means to worship in that sense. We are again modifying this dhatu using nyat pratyay. Again, no modification is possible because it is not ending with the last ik and it does not have a penultimate short a. So since no modification is possible, this puj will remain like this. From nyat, we get ya and we simply combine them together. So pujya. And we very commonly use this pratipadika for people who are worthy of worship, who are worthy of respect. Because pujya, that which should be worshipped. Okay, I hope so far so clear. Let us take one more example, dakhya. Dakhya means that which should be burnt. Okay, because this pratipadika is coming from the dhatu daha dhatu. Daha dhatu means to burn. Okay, and if we modify this dhatu using nyat pratyay, so let us see if any modification is possible. So the first, vriddhi of last ik, not possible because it does not have any last vowel. And then vriddhi of penultimate short a. So that is possible because this daha dhatu, it does have a penultimate short vowel. Because if we do the word vichcheda, So this is how it opens. We have a penultimate short a. So the vriddhi of penultimate short a will happen. And vriddhi of risva a is dirgha a. Okay, this is the vriddhi of risva a. So this daha, this will change into daha. Okay, and for nyat, we know we add this ya, and then no more further modifications are possible, no sandhi is possible, so we just combine it. So daghya, that which should be burnt. Okay, and then moving on, we take this one more example because this example is important. Why it is important, we'll see. The pratipadika is vedya, and vedya is that which should be known. Okay, so this vedya pratipadika, a lot of you can already guess, is coming from the dhatu vid dhatu. Vid dhatu means again to know. So vid is our dhatu here, and we are modifying this dhatu using nyat pratyay. And now let us see if the required modifications are possible. So vriddhi of last ik. So the dhatu here is ending with a consonant. So since we don't have any last vowel, so this modification is not possible. Then vriddhi of penultimate short a. But in our dhatu here with dhatu, the penultimate vowel is this e vowel. Okay, so since we don't have an penultimate short a, so this modification is not possible. So basically these vriddhi modifications are not possible with this dhatu. Okay, and now pay attention to this one point that I also spoke in the last video, that whenever the vriddhi, this cannot happen, then the guna can happen. Okay, and for guna also we know that guna generally happens for the last ik, and the guna also happens for the penultimate short, not a, rather it happens for the short ik pratyahara. So basically just understand this, that there are two major modifications, either the vriddhi happens or the guna happens. When vriddhi happens, so it happens for the last ik and it happens for the penultimate short a. And whenever guna happens, so it happens for the last ik and the penultimate short ik. Okay, so for the penultimate letter, the vriddhi and guna, they are slightly different, because vriddhi happens on the penultimate short a, but the guna happens for the penultimate short ik. Okay, but these are the two major modifications, the vriddhi and the guna. And whenever the vriddhi, it cannot happen, so the guna may happen. So that is the rule, just remember this. And so in our example here with dhatu, we saw that both these vriddhi modifications, they are not possible, they cannot happen. So then we will check that whether the guna may happen or not. And here we see that in the penultimate, you have this e. So since for this dhatu, we have a short ik vowel as a penultimate letter, so the guna will happen. And due to that, this vid, this will change into ved. Okay. And then you have this nyat, for nyat you have this ya, and then no more further modifications are possible. The sandhi is also not possible, so we'll just add them, attach them together. So this becomes vedya. Vedya, that which should be known. Okay, so I hope this point was clear. And now you may have this question, that in previous examples also, there were instances where nothing happened, where both the vriddhi modifications did not happen. For example here, pujya. But you see the dhatu here, you have the puj dhatu. So even though the vriddhi modifications is not possible, then we'll check for the guna modifications. And the guna modification also happens for the penultimate short vowel, short ik. But here, the penultimate vowel is not a short vowel, it is a dirgha u. So the guna also was not applicable. That is why this puj, this remained as such. It just remained puj, it joined with this ya, it became pujya. And similarly, in this example also sadhya, the dhatu sadh. So no vriddhi modification was possible because the last ik, not there, so not possible, and penultimate short a. Here, the penultimate vowel is dirgha a. So this vriddhi also not possible. So once the vriddhi modifications, they cannot happen, we can check for guna if it is possible. But here, the guna modification also was not possible because as the penultimate letter, you have a dirgha a. This dirgha a does not belong to the short ik. Okay, so the guna modification also cannot happen here. So the sadh, that remained as such and it became sadhya. Okay, so I hope with this example I have reinforced this point, that whenever the vriddhi modifications, it cannot happen, then you also check for whether the guna modifications can happen. Okay, so just remember this point, and with this we have taken a lot of examples for this nyat pratyay also. Now let us see the last pratyay, the kya pratyay also. Okay, and for this kya pratyay, we know the main letter is ya. So what remains are the it letters. So we have ka and we have pa as the it letters. And in the recent video, we did this quip suffix, right? If you remember, quip pratyay. In quip pratyay also, the it letters were the ka and the pa. So we are already familiar with these modifications. But anyways, let us revise them, that whenever there is a ka, as an ith letter. Okay, so due to ka as ith letter, vriddhi and guna, both of these modifications are prohibited. Okay, so actually good thing, less work for us, right? And then if you have pa as an ith letter, then additional ta for the dhatus that are ending with the short vowel. That we saw that if any dhatu is ending with a short vowel, short e in this example, so between this dhatu and between the pratyaya, you will have this ta, this additional ta. So this additional ta comes for the dhatus that are ending with short vowel. Why? Because you have pa as an ith letter. So this is what this pa indicates. Okay, again, both these modifications we saw with the quick pratyaya also. Same kind of modifications are going to happen. Let us see the examples. So you have this word stutya. Stutya means that which should be praised, stutya, because it is coming from a dhatu, stu dhatu. Stu dhatu means to praise. From this dhatu only we get the pratipadika stuti also, using another suffix. Stuti is praise, right? So stu dhatu means to praise. We are modifying this dhatu using kya pratyaya. For yat pratyaya we saw there are certain kind of dhatus that take yat pratyaya. Similarly, there are certain kind of dhatus that take nyat pratyaya. So what about this kya pratyaya? So kya pratyaya is just very limitedly used. Only few dhatus use this kya pratyaya. Okay, what are these dhatus? With practice it comes. So we don't need to memorize them. Just let us see what few examples I have taken here. Okay, so stu dhatu is one such dhatu that takes this kya pratyaya. Now, what are the modifications? So, vriddhi and guna are prohibited, no problem. And then, due to this pa as an ith letter, if the dhatu is ending with a short vowel, then an additional takara comes. And since our dhatu stu is indeed ending with a short vowel, short u, so what will happen? That an additional ta will come between dhatu and the pratyaya. So, kya pratyaya, the ya is the main content. We have this arrangement, we just simply combine them together. So, the pratipadika we get is stutya, that which should be praised. Okay, I hope this example is clear. Now let us take another example. So we have this pratipadika drishya. Drishya, again a very common Hindi word also, drishya. This is very easily coming from the drish dhatu. Drish dhatu means to see, to perceive. Okay. And as per the required modification, vriddhi and guna are prohibited, no problem. And since our dhatu is not ending with any short vowel, then this modification is also not possible. So drish, this will remain as such. So we have this drish, and for the kya pratyaya, we have this ya. So we just simply combine them together. We get this pratipadika drishya. Drishya, that which should be seen. Okay, again a very common and popular word. Now you know the vyutpatti of it. Okay, and let us take one last example, shishya. Again a very common word. That means that which should be taught, that which should be educated. Actually, that which, in this case, we can rewrite it as one who should be taught, one who should be educated. Okay, this is, I am just writing it in the general sense. So, one who is to be taught, one who should be educated is shishya. That is the meaning. And this pratipadika is coming from the dhatu shas dhatu. Shas dhatu means to educate, to teach in that sense. But we are not going to go deep into how this word comes, because there are few certain rules. There are few certain sub rules also in addition to the required modifications. So we don't need to go into that sub rules, because these sub rules, these additional rules, they only happen for few cases. So we don't need to memorize them at this stage, because we already have a lot to memorize, understand otherwise. Actually, due to certain sub rules, what happens is this shas dhatu, this first changes into this shis. Okay, this dhatu changes into the shis, and then this shis also further modifies as shish. Okay, so these two changes, no, from shas to shis and from shis to shish, these two changes are controlled using certain sub rules, certain additional rules. But we don't need to go into them now. Just remember, this is the changes that happen, and then for kyap you have this ya, and when we combine it, we get this pratipadika shishya. That means one who should be taught, who should be educated, who is fit to be taught, fit to be educated in that sense. Okay, but anyways, these were all the examples for the three suffixes that we covered. The yat, the nyat and the kyap. Okay, so all these three suffixes again making a same pratipadika with the same kind of meaning, that which should be done. Okay, so I hope all these examples, they were clear. In this meaning, that which should be done, we have two more suffixes. Again, very common, you already know them. Tavyat and aniyar. So very commonly we use them in the Sanskrit literature. So these two suffixes also create this kind of pratipadika only, that which should be done. So these two suffixes we will see in the next video. Again, we are already familiar with them. We'll just take few examples, just learn something. We will also learn about the it agama rule in this next video only. But anyways, I hope everything so far is clear. If not, you can revisit the videos. If still there is a problem, just be patient, give it some time. With the practices of the follow-up videos, we will get better at it. Okay, so I'll meet you with another video with another set of suffixes. Until then, stay awesome, stay happy, keep learning Sanskrit. Vayam punah milamaha. Dhanyavad.